and we can see a lot of heavy aggressive buyers coming into the zone, right? Important to understand that. Now let's understand what was going on, and we're going to break this down quite logically in terms of the buyers and the sellers. So for those who are asking about trend reversals or spotting a trend ending, this is how you do it. So buyers have to be exhausted. And so what do I mean by buyers being exhausted? It's not that difficult. It's not difficult to read order flow or footprint charts. What you need to understand is that the market will enter the fair value gap, and we're going to see a huge amount of aggressive buyers. So if we take a look at the left number, right, the left number represents the bid and the right number represents the ask. And so what we're seeing is the bid and the ask data. So why is that important? So a trend obviously is determined by the activity of buyers and sellers. That makes sense, right? The reason why is because when you trade, there's only one or two buttons you can press. It's the buy or the sell button. So knowing who's in control between the buyers and the sellers is pretty useful if you want to determine the end of a trend, right? As they say, a trend is your friend until it ends, and this is how you find if it's going to end, right? So what we're looking for is we want to see a significant buying of volume, right? Because we want to see buyers exhausted, and I'm going to explain what that means. So if you take a look, this is now the 5-minute candle. So this candle here represents 1, 2, 3, 4, these kind of 5 candles over here, this large drive into the area. Yes, we had 1, 2, 3 impulsive candles to the upside. And if we see what was going on, we see that they're backed by a huge number of aggressive buyers. In fact, let's make this a little bit bigger. If we make this a little bit bigger, we can see at the top, we see 10 for 337. So for those who are good at maths, that's roughly speaking a 33.7 times difference between the total number of aggressive buyers and sellers. Now, it's not just that number. If we take a look at the row underneath, we see 570 for 294. We see 426 for 796. That's roughly a 2-to-1. We see 360 for 856. So that's roughly a 2.2 to 1, whatever that ratio is. So what we can see is we can see 1, 2, 3, 4. We can see 5 delta outliers. And so a trend that's going to end basically means that buyers in this case are being exhausted. Now, if buyers are being exhausted, it means that there's a passive seller sitting at this area. And that's exactly what's going on over here. So when you see a large number of aggressive buyers coming into an area, right? If you see a large number of aggressive buyers and the buyers do not break above the fair value gap, so we can see the fair value gaps over here, we can see that these buyers have been very unsuccessful, right? A huge number of aggressive buyers have been unsuccessful. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, there's more buyers than sellers. Well, that's not completely correct, right? There's more aggressive buyers than sellers. So the way that we use footprint charts is you want to understand who is aggressive and who is being rewarded, or in this case, more likely, who's not being rewarded. So the way you find a trend reversal or a trend exhaustion is to see which market participants are aggressive and not being rewarded. They're exhausted, and this is how you find an exhaustion of, in this case, a bullish upwards trend. And so what's going on is we see a shift in the delta from aggressive buyers down to aggressive sellers. Now notice how we come into this 5-minute fair value gap over here.